Hello, everyone. This is Kronos the Time Lord, and yes, I know it looks a little different. I have been away for a long time. The only thing that I can really say is that, well, it's been kicking me in the ass. Yeah, life's kind of been kicking me around, but that's all I'm really gonna say. But regardless, I'm back, and I have a VTuber model now. Yeah, I know. It's kind of weird. I have a VTuber model now, but regardless, let's get this started. I've sort of been doing a rebranding of sorts, but we're not here to talk about that right now. We're here to talk about this video. Specifically, I'm going to be reacting to Keengan J's video on basically how ROMs, not even ROMs, basically how mods made the worst game, or the worst Pokemon game that I've played, much, much better. And we're going to be reacting to it. So without further ado, let's get started. So yeah, let's check out this shit.
Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl were pretty awful remakes. They had less features and less content than their DS predecessor, Pokemon Platinum, as well as a whole host of hilarious and game-breaking glitches.
Now, quick thing here, I didn't even finish this game. I did get Shining Pearl only because me and my brother back in the day usually got the opposite of games of the other. So, like, for example, he got regular Diamond and I got Pearl, and it was the reverse. But honestly, I didn't even have any interest in this game whatsoever. I really just didn't care. And that was a few years before I actually figured out about what's happening here. Basically, the mod overhauling the entire game and making it much better. So with that being said, the glitch that you're seeing on the screen, I didn't actually see it. Well, more like I didn't actually, you know, encounter it because I didn't finish the game. I just didn't care. I really didn't care, honestly. But anyway, let's continue.
On release. As such, these games were just so disappointing and quickly fell into irrelevance. That is, until we got Pokemon Luminescent Platinum, the fan-made mod that tries to fix these remakes by adding in a ton of features and some crazy new story elements, while also making the game significantly more difficult.
Yeah, just a real quick thing. That's one of the things that I absolutely love about the Pokemon community, or at least this sect of the community. The Pokemon community has dedicated themselves to making the games, the old games that we really loved, and some of the games, like this one here, much better by making it much harder. I don't understand what Game Freak and the Pokemon Company don't understand about more challenge being a better thing. Because it is. Yeah, more challenge is better. I'm sorry, but more challenge is better. And the popularity of not just this mod, but many other ROM hacks kind of prove that. But anyway, let's continue.
So, I had to try this game to answer two very important questions. First, is this truly a better Sinnoh remake than the official Nintendo release?
Yes. Like 100 times less. Like 100 times yes.
And would I still be able to beat this game, even with the insane difficulty increase? Well, let's find out. We load in, and at first glance, things don't seem too different. Although, unfortunately, the art style still remains unchanged, so Cyrus still manages to look like a chain-smoking toddler.
Now, just as a small point of contention, I actually do not mind the whole chibi design, even though I know somebody, or not even somebody, they were able to actually fix this. So you have the option of actually having like the actual size models, but as far as the chibi designs go, I don't honestly mind it. Yeah, I know. That's the one. That's one of the very few things of these two games, Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, that I actually don't really mind. Now, almost everything else about the game, I 100% mind because I don't care for it. But anyway, the chibi designs, I don't mind it. Next.
Regardless, after choosing what is undeniably the best Sinnoh starter, we had our Chimchar and were ready to explore what this game had to offer. And right away, there are a bunch of new features and additions. For example, we're given both the Poke Radar and the bike from the very beginning of the game, which is really convenient. But on a stranger note, we're also approached by a Shaman down by the lake, who then proceeds to start sniffing me. I don't know whether this is meant to be cute or horrifying.
I don't know. I mean, if I saw Shaman coming up to me and sniffing me, I'd just go, aww. But then again, that's just me.
Fine. The changes don't stop there either, because after returning home, we're also given an Eevee by our mum, which I name Freebie, and
Okay, quick thing, and the only game that I've played that actually did this was Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness from a couple decades ago. Like, it was, like, that's a really, really old game, but it is really, really good. And it's another game that's been modded to the point where it's actually become a much better game than it was, and it was already good. But going back to the real point, this game, XD Gale of Darkness, was the only game that actually gave you an Eevee as a starter Pokemon. And I always thought that was interesting. Yeah, I always thought that was interesting, considering Eevee has, like, what, 8 evolutions now? I think it's actually going to be 9 with the newest games that are coming out. I don't know. As of this recording, they haven't come out yet. But regardless, yeah, this game actually lets you set out somewhat with an Eevee, and I always found that interesting. I don't know why more Pokemon games don't do that. But anyway, let's continue.
In another nice addition, we're also able to change our outfit right away in this mod. So I chose the Ben 10 Hype Beast looking drip before leaving
Strip
and finally beginning our adventure. But shortly after arriving in Sanjam Town, there's another surprise waiting for us. Because in this game, you're actually able to get all 3 Sinnoh starters from
I'm sorry, what?
So our team was already
starting
to look pretty good. And you might think that having access to all of these Pokemon immediately might make this game easy.
Real quick, we're not even at the first gym yet, and this game is already much better than the games that it's modded from. Think about that for a second. I mean, I've said it before, and I guess I'm going to have to say it again. Hold on. I guess I'm going to have to say it before, but I guess I'm just going to have to say it again. Mods make Pokemon games better, not worse. And there's an entire community that proves it. Anyway, let's continue.
But you couldn't be more wrong. We'll get into that in a little while, but for now, we have our first fight against Dawn, and since she's only packing 1 singular Turtwig, our Chimchar instantly incinerates it to death with Ember for a quick hit, clearing us to move onward through Route 202. Another added feature of this game is the addition of more wild Pokemon. So this area is basically a hall of fame of early game trash bag Pokemon from across the entire series. Anyway, eventually,
Okay, quick thing. One other thing that I really like about this game is that the variety of Pokemon that you actually have access to from the very beginning is much, much more varied. You get a lot more Pokemon basically available to you from the jump. And I don't know why new Pokemon games these days don't do this. But anyway, let's continue.
We reached Jubilife City, and there are a whole bunch of useful items and TMs for us to find here. But the most interesting thing we can grab is from this farmer inside the school, because she gives us an egg of a random baby Pokemon, which, after running around for a while, hatches into Tyro, the baby fighter who I name One Punch
Awesome reference.
Man. With that, now it was time to leave Jubilife and set our sights on Oreburg City and our first gym badge. Along the way, there are a bunch of mandatory trainer battles, including our rival, who already has a noticeably better team than in the base game. Regardless, we're still able to cruise through these early fights relatively unscathed, although we do get a nice power boost once Chimchar reaches level 14, evolving into Monferno, and we get another significant boost soon after inside the Oreburg gate, as it's here that we're able to find Riolu. I knew that
Riolu, you get access to the pre-evolution of one of the best Pokemon in the game at pretty much the jump. But as Keengan is going to demonstrate in this video, just because you have a lot of Pokemon you have access to doesn't mean that this game is going to be easy. Oh no, it's not going to be easy at all. But anyway, let's continue.
I had to catch this guy, and while he did not want to stay in the ball, eventually we had added Lululemon the Riolu to our roster. Shortly after that, we finally arrive in Oreburg City, and this is where Luminescent Platinum finally starts to show how menacing it can be, because this is where the first gym is located, and the gyms in this game are insane. Each gym leader has a full team of 6 powerful Pokemon, and on top of that, gym leaders also have multiple team variations, so you can't just prepare for one specific matchup. All of this combines to make gyms so much harder, and with my extra rules, I'm not allowed to overlevel my team.
Now, this is one of the aspects of this mod that I love the most. It makes gym battles actually challenging from the jump. It actually makes it that it's like a real test. You know, a gym battle is supposed to be an actual test, and this game actually does it right. Whereas in the originals, from what I remember, the gym battles were way too easy, and I don't like that. And I apparently am not alone on this. Anyway, let's continue.
Past the gym leader's ace, as well as have to play on set mode, just to make the difficulty that much higher. Basically,
Nice.
I knew that if we wanted to stand any chance against the gym, we needed to catch more Pokemon. So I went on a catching spree, grabbing absolutely anything I could find that looked even remotely useful. And I really loved how
you
the
gotta
game
catch 'em
gives you
all.
access to so many cool Pokemon right from the beginning. It's nice to have all this variety. With that, after assembling our strongest team of 6, we stepped up to the first gym leader, ready to take on Rourke and his rock types. Rourke opens with Shield on, which really isn't great for me since I led with the grass type Turtwig. So I instantly switch out into Rhyhorn as Rourke just sets up Stealth Rock. This means that on the next turn, a big quad effective Bulldoze quickly picks up our first KO, giving us the early lead. However, that doesn't last long, as next in is Anorith, who turns out knows Aqua Jet, which decimates our Rhyhorn in only 2 turns, evening up the score.
Nice.
To counter this, I send in Monferno next, as a priority Muck Punch is all we need to finish off the already weakened Bug. But Rourke then responds by sending in his own Rhyhorn. So my plan was to switch into Turtwig to overpower it with super effective grass moves. However, we take big damage on the switch from Stealth Rock and Bulldoze, and on the next turn, Rourke lands a lucky crit, burying our turtle in the dirt before he even had the chance to attack. This puts us on the back foot. However, it's here that our new Prinplup absolutely takes over, because with one Water Pulse, we can drown out Rhyhorn immediately. And on top of that, the big-nosed freak that follows also
come
comes to 2
on.
Water Pulses,
Those
as well
passes
as
fine.
Felix, who follows soon after, putting us comfortably in the lead thanks to our Prinplup. While Rourke's final ace Cranidos does finish off our weakened Penguin, from here, Monferno can clean up the fight with a power-up punch, followed by a priority Muck Punch for the KO, yielding us the win, as well
I
as
gotta
our
love that
first
combination.
badge. While we may have gotten the win on our first try, that was way harder than the original game.
Good. I'm glad that it's harder. It makes it much better. Seriously, I really love the fact that this game is so much harder than the original. I know I keep reiterating this point, but it just has to be said. This game is better, and it's all the better for it. Well, it's much harder, and it's all the better for it. Anyway, let's continue.
games, which makes me very excited and honestly a little scared to see what the rest of this game has waiting for us. And I didn't know it at the time, but there was some absolutely insane stuff on the horizon. But for now, we'd obtained our first badge and set our sights on obtaining the next one. This involves gradually making our way through the next few routes until we reach Floroma Town, and it's here that we
one other thing that, because I actually did play this mod, and I think I'll actually play it again in the near future, maybe on stream, maybe not. But one thing about that I really like about this mod, and I know it's going to sound very kind of not really so important because it's a turn-based RPG, but I think it's important. When I first played it, it actually ran at a full 60 frames per second, and it really does make a difference, even if it's not really an action RPG, so it didn't really, matter. But it mattered as far as the movement, and it looked a lot smoother on retrospect.
We have our first real run-in with Team Galactic, who have overtaken the Valley Windworks. So, to take it back, we have to fight our way through a string of grunts, during which Turtwig finally gets to evolve, joining its Sinnoh brethren in the middle stage evolution. Although, the real highlight of this quest is when Shaman appears, we get defeated Honey. Seriously, I would die for this flowery little hedgehog. After making our way through the Windworks though, we finally confront her. Commander Mars, the first galactic boss and by far our toughest fight yet, because despite us having a 6v4 advantage here, as well as some strong Pokemon, I still got crushed. Zubat isn't overly threatening, so we can deal with that pretty quickly. But the Bronzor that follows is so annoying. It's really bulky and just confuses my team repeatedly with Confuse Ray. But despite that, with a little switching, we can take it down without too much trouble. And while the Yanma that follows is pretty annoying to deal with, we can handle that too, leaving Mars with only her final Pokemon. And it's here where everything falls apart, because next in is Perugly. This fat cat is a menace.
Okay, yeah, so this is another roadblock that I actually had in this game when I first played it, and it took me so many tries because it was actually such a monster of a Pokemon that just kept destroying me. But on retrospect, I still really, really like this. I love the fact that this Pokemon is making the game harder for me. And yeah, I mean, granted, it is technically an illegal Pokemon, but it makes the game harder, so I don't really mind.
It's fast and it hits hard. On top of that, Perugly shouldn't even evolve until it's
a
much
truck.
higher level. But somehow, Mars got an illegal one at level 19. Officer, send this cat to prison for its crimes at once. Despite this being a 1v4, Perugly
Keengan is so funny.
Absolutely crazy here, crushing Prinplup in a single shot. And things don't get any better from there, as our final 3 Pokemon are quickly brutalized into their graves with an onslaught of Aerial Aces. And yeah, we had lost to a single fat cat. However, I wasn't ready to give up, so I built a new team, a much better strategy, marched straight back to Commander Mars, ready for revenge, and we lost even worse this time. I got swept by a Yanma. A Yanma! That was just embarrassing. Luminescent Platinum is clearly much more difficult than the original games, and if I wanted to stand any chance of beating this game, I would need to get serious. So, after tweaking our team to add in Larvitar, as well as teaching our Pokemon some new TMs, we returned back to Mars to face the dreaded Commander for a third attempt. This time, we lead with Prinplup, whose main job is to set up Stealth Rock, although thanks to some bad luck with Confusion and Poison, we're only able to land a single Bubble Beam onto Zubat before our Penguin goes down. And while Monferno can quickly pick up the trade with Flame Wheel, this brings out Mars's Bronzor, which is so annoying. Its cheesy combination of Confusion and Hypnosis are just so frustrating to deal with. As a result, Monferno is quickly crushed by Extra Sensory, with Bronzor also crippling our Machop by the time Bronzor finally falls to burn damage. The dreaded Yanma is next, with Stealth Rock immediately sapping away half of its health before Machop is finished off. Once again, our team was falling apart. But this is where things start to turn, because after Rhyhorn tanks a Leech Life, a single super effective Smackdown is all we need to
Remember, kids, throw bugs at rocks. Oh, wait, I have that backwards. Throw rocks at bugs. Remember that. If you're playing Pokemon, remember that one thing. Throw rocks at bugs.
To finish Yanma, yet again leaving Mars with only her illegal Purugly. Rhyhorn has a pretty good matchup here, allowing us to land 2 bulldozers for big damage, while also significantly nerfing Purugly's speed. Once Rhyhorn falls, Larvitar makes its debut by landing a Rock Tomb, lowering Mars's speed even more. All of this means that once our final Pokemon, Grotle, hits the field, with one last barrage of Bullet Seeds, we claim the final KO, giving us a very redeeming win over Mars. So, Team Galactic are forced out of the win works, but that win doesn't inspire much confidence. I mean, we're still in the early game and got absolutely stomped by Mars. Things were definitely gonna get a lot harder, and we needed to get a lot stronger. After proceeding onward through Route 205, we enter the dense Eterna Forest, where we meet Cheryl. Keengan, are you a strong trainer?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Totally. In this mod, we actually have to battle Cheryl to prove our strength. Thankfully though, her team isn't too hard to deal with, so we clean her up pretty quickly.
Again, a much better change. Might look a little... I would say might look a little unimportant on the large scale, but I actually like this. And of course, everyone knows this part of the game for, well, a lot of double battles, and Cheryl as a partner healing your Pokemon every time you finish a battle, which is always a good thing for grinding. That's always good. Anyway, next.
Before teaming up to make our way through the forest together. While here, I knew that we had to catch some more Pokemon to strengthen up our team, and I was able to find some pretty useful stuff. However, by far, the best thing I found was a shiny Baneri. Just look at this adorable little bunny. Obviously, I had to catch it.
Oh my god, that's so cute. Oh my god, and regular Baneri is so cute, so a shiny one's even better. It's like cotton candy. Except they can kick you, technically. Can Baneri kick you? Actually, I think it does learn high jump kick, so yeah, it can actually kick you. Don't try and eat the bunny. Please don't.
Naming our new Baneri Cotton Candy. So, with these
Appropriate.
Pokemon added into our arsenal, we left the forest behind, before shortly after arriving in Eterna City. The second gym is here, but we can't challenge the leader yet, because another change in Luminescent Platinum requires us to go up and find her on Route 216, the snowy route that's usually locked until the late game.
Oh wow, so you get access to an area that you're not technically supposed to access yet to get much better picks? So you can have somewhat of a fighting chance? Again, this game makes the previous game much better. I've said that before, and I will say it again until the cows come home. Mods make Pokemon games better.
But we get to access it now. It doesn't take too long for us to track down the missing gym leader, but during this trek, we can find a bunch of extra Pokemon to add to the team, including some that I'll definitely need to bring into the next gym. So, after returning to Eterna City, I was able to evolve some of our team members, giving us a nice boost. And
Awesome.
with that, we assembled our strongest team possible, ready to assert our dominance over the...
And that team... Hold on, let's go back.
And with that, we assembled our strong...
Now, this team is something that you normally might not even have access to in the original games, and this is before you get the second badge. That's how accessible the Pokemon is, and that's how good this mod is. Again, I know I'm beating a dead horse here, but Pokemon games are made better by mods and ROMs hacks. Well, ROM hacks. Said that before, and I will say it again. Anyway, let's continue.
Team possible, ready to assert our dominance over the grass-type leader, Gardenia. Except that's not what happened. Despite coming into this fight with some pretty good type matchups, Gardenia's Pokemon are just so bulky. Combine this with grassy terrain and held items like Black Sludge for recovery, and we just couldn't deal enough damage to overcome these grass-type behemoths. As a result, our team just got slapped around, and it wasn't even close. Things then got even worse, as despite adding some great new grass-type counters to our team in Breloom and Swellow, ultimately
Nice.
it made no difference to the end result, as Gardenia's Roserade just buried us once again.
Damn.
This was looking so rough. Luminescent Platinum was basically just bullying me at this point. I had enough. My pride may be in the mud, but I made a vow to never lose again.
Hey, that's what you do. You have to get good. Just like the old adage says, you had to get good or piss off. And in this case, it looks like Keengan got good.
I was going to show Luminescent Platinum just how good I truly was. And so, with my best team of 6 in tow, we once again stepped forward to tackle the grass-type menace. This time, Gardenia opens with her Voltorb, which is horrible since I'm leading with Golbat. This forces me to switch immediately, so
Two things. One, the only thing that I really remember about the Gardenia boss fight in the original games, even the original games back in the day, is that her last Pokemon, her ace, Roserade, is a monster. It is a beast, and I did actually want one for my team, and I actually did get one. But regardless, yeah, that's one of the only things that I remember from this fight. Other than that, I don't really remember anything else. Anyway.
I bring in Breloom. Despite Voltorb setting up rough.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing that I wanted to say in regards to this mod in particular. I really like the regional variant for Voltorb. A grass electric type, really like that combination. I don't think we have another one here or another Pokemon that has that type combination. Feel free to let me know if that's wrong. Anyway.
It's still frail enough for 2 Force Palm to quickly take down the electrified ball. Next in is Gardenia's Skiploom, who I know is going to go for a flying move, so I opt to bring in Matang, who has an incredible matchup here. Despite getting paralyzed by Skiploom's bounce, Matang still holds on long enough to finish off the flying plant with a combination of Iron Heads and Bullet Punches. Gardenia's Parasect does pick up a quick trade onto our Steel Soldier, but this is where we take over, as Swellow.
Just as a quick point here, this game is so good and it's made so hard that even trash Pokemon like Skiploom and Parasect are actually good. Or they're actually able to put up a fight. Really appreciate that.
Hits the field. 2 plucks are all we need to finish Parasect, and while the Blossom that follows tries to stall us out, eventually our bird claims yet another victim with Pluck. After Vileplume also succumbs to the demonic wrath of Swellow, Gardenia was left with only her Roserade. This thing may be an absolute menace, but with 5 Pokemon still left on our side, we're able to gradually wear down the super-powered plant, finally giving us a much-needed win over Gardenia. That's
nice.
Our second badge obtained, and Swellow was the absolute MVP in that fight. Thank you, Mr. Bird, for saving me from further embarrassment. Our winning momentum was set to continue too. Next, we stormed the Eterna Galactic building, and while Mars may have slapped our team into the dirt, Jupiter is a very different story. Our team is much better equipped than we used to be, meaning that her first few Pokemon are dealt with pretty easily. Against her ace Skuntank, we just have Breloom put it to sleep with Spore before an onslaught of punches from Monferno finishes off the poisonous skunk. Having lost, Jupiter flees.
Yeah, I'm not going to say that that's a disappointment from the last one, but yeah, I guess the last one was so hard that getting this one really isn't that much harder. Like, it sounds like it only took one try, but I'm not going to begrudge it considering the last commander was such a monster. Anyway, let's continue.
Leaving behind this completely unsupervised Porygon. So we kinda just decide to literally steal it, quickly stuffing it into our backpack before
why not, right?
notices. Before moving on, there's 2 more Pokemon that I want to make sure we pick up. The first is back by the Eterna Forest, inside the old chateau, where we can find Rotom. After catching the televised ghost, we also get the secret key, and this is a change that I love, because it means that we can actually change.
And this is why I always call Rotom the IKEA Pokemon. But when he first mentioned this, when I first watched this video, I kind of thought he was going for the special Gengar that you can get, but apparently not. I actually did end up getting that special Gengar that's I'm not going to say modded, but more like design-wise it's modded to be sort of voodoo-esque. But yeah, I thought he was going to go for it. He apparently didn't. He went for Rotom, and I think that's cool. All right, let's continue.
Rotom's form using the hidden room inside the Galactic building. Then finally, before we leave Eterna, we also run into Cynthia, who hands us a mysterious egg in these trying times. And with those new additions now secured, next we head south of Eterna in search of our next gym badge. This is where Luminescent Platinum shows even more changes. For example, in this version, we have to do the Wayward Cave quest, which sees us team up with Mira to navigate through the cave. It's not overly exciting, but it does lead to us getting the TM for Dazzling Gleam, as well as finding this new static Gabite encounter. Obviously, I had to catch this guy.
I mean, how are you going to turn down the pre-evolution to one of the best Pokemon in the game? To the point where this Pokemon's evolution is what Cynthia is known for, other than being, well, gorgeous. But yeah, why would you turn down a Gabite, or practically a free Gabite, at this point of the game? And no, this doesn't make it easier, but it helps. Anyway, continuing.
To which I name it Cynthia. Isn't she just so dreamy? Bask in her overwhelming beauty. Anyway, after making our way through Mount Coronet
Keengan is so
and
funny.
Route 208, I was hit by one of the biggest surprise additions to Luminescent Platinum, Aaron, the Elite Four member who just ambushes us and forces us into a fight. Even if you try to decline, he just won't take no for an answer.
Yeah, that's another thing this Pokemon ROM does. It makes it harder by actually giving you Elite Four members that you get to actually fight before the Elite Four. And this time it's Aaron, but it's not going to be the last time this happens. God, I love this mom. Not mom. ROM. I love this mod so much. It is so good. Anyway, continuing.
Not only does this man pull up with a full team of 6, but they're all fully evolved and have strong movesets. So, remember when I said, I made a vow to never lose again? Yeah, that was a lie, because this man just cooks my team in one of the most unexpected beatdowns of my entire career. You're an Elite Four member going around attacking 10-year-olds with 2 badges. Do you feel good about that? Coward, you sicken me. Anyway,
He's probably not that much older. But yeah, I know that you made the declaration of not losing again, but come on. He's an Elite Four member. What did you expect? Still fun, though.
After losing to this guy again in a fight that I do not want to talk about, I had to teach this loser a lesson by unleashing the cheese. Because on my 3rd attempt, this time, I just had Lucario go Super Saiyan by setting up a bunch of Swords Dancers against his Ariados. From there, our Lucario dishes out some cold, sweet revenge by sweeping his entire collection of bugs straight into the trash. Take that, you spawn camping coward. With that fight behind us, I knew that now we would never lose again. After fighting...
Oh God. Oh, if you only knew.
Finally arriving in Heart Home City, I was determined to power up our team, and thankfully, Luminescent Platinum makes this very painless, as we have access to the Everlasting Candy. It's basically unlimited rare candies, which sounds really overpowered. However, this game also gives you the option of automatically enforcing level caps, so you can save a bunch of time grinding levels, which makes the game way more enjoyable. So, using this method, as well as some of our items, we can evolve a ton of our Pokemon, giving us access to some much needed defensive options like Clefable, as well as Umbreon. On top of that, the egg that Cynthia gave us also hatches into a Togepi that I named Scramble, who, after furiously running around in circles, eventually evolves all the way into Togekiss. With that, I assembled our strongest team of 6 and charged right into the Heart Home Gym, ready to show our newfound strength. Fantina specializes in Ghost types, and our team was actually holding their own. With its Serene Grace ability, Togekiss can deal out big damage while also making its opponents flinch. Swellow's Scrappy ability lets it hit Ghost types with normal attacks, allowing us to bury the deadly Gengar with extreme speed. And against bulky threats like Drifblim, we have moves like Leech Seed on Torterra and Wish on Togekiss to help us stall. Combine this with Lucario's raw damage output, and our team was gradually chipping away at Fantina. While the bulky Drifblim did take an absolute eternity to deal with, our Swellow was a
Yeah, I also remember this fight for being notoriously hard, even in the original games. And even though Ghost is one of my favorite types, it really was, in my personal opinion, it was actually the first real challenge of the game. Well, the first real challenge of even the original games. It was so good, and this mod makes it better, but it really wasn't that way in the newest games. I'm talking about the original mods, not mods. The original games. God damn it! No, not that. I mean, the games that this is modded from. I remember a little from this fight from the games that this is modded from, but this, yeah, I remember this for being hard when I played it. Really fun.
Eventually able to pop that balloon, and the Ace Miss Magius that follows quickly suffers the exact same fate. With that, we'd gotten badge number 3 on our very first attempt, all while only losing one Pokemon in the fight. Our team had reached a real turning point, and I knew for a fact that we would truly never lose again. Now, this next section of the game has
why do you keep saying that?
Heart home to Veilstone.
Why do you keep saying that? You know it's not true. Okay, next.
And during this trip, we come across some new added side quests. For example, by beating up a ton of galactic grunts inside the Pokemon Mansion, we're given a Manaphy egg, which seems incredibly busted. On top of that, after eventually making our way through Route 209, inside the Lost Tower, we witnessed a Lampent literally commit murder. What is happening in this game? Anyway, it feels like there's so much new content, and I can't go into depth on
Yeah, they give you a wild Chandelure to fight in the original, not in the original, in this modded game. God, I love this game. I mean, if you didn't have a ghost type before, you might want to get it now, because Chandelure is one of the best ones that you can get. And I remember it being the ultimate enemy to one of the most infamous Pokemon in this, I want to say, region, being Bronzong.
Absolutely everything. However, during this journey to Veilstone, we have a bunch of our Pokemon reach their final evolutions, which gives our team a massive power boost. And after clearing our way through Route 215, we had finally reached Veilstone City. Girafarig, Girafarig. You're right, Girafarig. I should subscribe to the Keengan J YouTube channel.
Oh, by the way, yeah, do subscribe to Keengan J. He's really, really cool, and he made this video. The original video is going to be in the description if you're on YouTube. I'm going to be making this YouTube video. Right now I'm streaming it, but I'm going to be making it into a video on the YouTube channel. If you do go to my YouTube channel, then feel free to. It's going to be in the description. But yeah, subscribe to Keengan. Keengan's awesome. All right, continuing.
Outside of this shady guy in the corner, who's selling some incredibly useful items, our main objective here is the 4th gym. And while Maylene's team has some huge fighting type threats, we have some amazing fighting type counters. As a result, this fight is actually pretty straightforward. By equipping our Crobat with an expert belt, super effective aerial aces can rip through a large chunk of Maylene's roster. And after Crobat also screeches her ace Lucario to nerf its defense, this clears the way for Swellow to finish the fight with one last aerial ace. So now we had our 4th badge, and I started to think that maybe the rest of this game wouldn't be so hard.
Oh Lord, you have no idea. It is going to get much, much harder, and that's always a good thing. Anyway, let's continue.
Since now we have fully evolved Pokemon, what a fool I was. Because Luminescent Platinum was still going to get way, way harder. And it wasn't going to take long for us to find that out the hard way. Because after heading south of Veilstone, through routes 213 and 214, eventually we reach Pastoria City. This gives us the chance to add some water types to our roster. First, by catching a Gastrodon on the outskirts of the city, and then, this old lady just decides to give us a Lapras. So, with these 2 wet warriors on the team, we set our sights on the 5th gym. However, this is where the difficulty ramps up, because it turns out this gym has permanent rainy weather, which gives a massive buff to water types, putting us at a huge disadvantage. Despite that, we've got some pretty powerful Pokemon, so I assembled my strongest anti-water roster.
Also, another thing that this Pokemon game does, and I think this isn't the only gym that this does it for, but it has an environmental advantage towards the gym leader that you have to work around, which is, again, really, really cool, and it makes it much better, which is good. Again, I always love the fact that this game is much better. Yeah, it's actually much better and it improves it by making it much harder. Anyway, continuing.
Before stepping up to face the leader, Crasher Wake. And I got destroyed. Not only does the permanent rain boost all of Wake's water moves, but since half of his team has the ability Swift Swim, they also get a speed boost too. Combine all of this with the fact that his team just has so much type coverage, and the end result was a brutal beatdown that wasn't even close.
I always forget that CC King can actually use electric type moves. I always forget that.
Once again, we had been crushed. Clearly, I needed a new plan. So, after taking some time to assemble a new roster, we approached Wake for a second time, determined to get the win. Although, first, I have to acknowledge how cute and goofy this tiny little floatzel looks. Can we keep him? Please? As the rain pours down, Wake leads with his Luminion as we go into Torterra. Despite being a grass type against a water type, this still doesn't even feel like a good matchup as Wake has Hurricane, which instantly deals enormous damage to our turtle. We're still able to set up Stealth Rock, but I can't stay in any longer with Torterra, so switch into Rotom, who tanks the incoming Surf reasonably well. And after surviving another one on the following turn, a super effective Discharge fries Wake's fish, putting it on the brink of death. I switch on the following turn to try and keep Rotom healthy, but surprisingly, Wake switches too. This leads to a water-type matchup between his Seeking and our Lapras.
The UI is much smarter in this game. Again, another reason why I love this ROM or mod. Oh God, I gotta stop doing that. I gotta stop saying that it's a ROM and not a mod. Because it's a mod. I gotta stop doing that. But yeah, that's the reason why. That's one of the reasons why I love this mod so much. Because the UI is actually smarter. All right, next.
For some reason, this thing knows Thunderbolt, which hits Lapras hard and causes paralysis before we respond by landing a Toxic. We can't beat Wake with all-out offense, so instead, we have to go into Big Brain mode. As Seeking tries to Thunderbolt our Lapras again, we can switch into Torterra, who isn't affected. Then, we switch back into Lapras, who can comfortably tank the incoming attack. So, by repeating this process over the next few turns, the toxic damage gradually eats away at Seeking until the fish finally falls. Now we were ahead, but next in is Ludicolo, and this thing is a threat. With amazing move coverage and incredible speed under the rain, this guy is about to dance on the graves of my entire team.
And it is a really good type. That's one of the reasons why Ludicolo is one of my favorite Pokemon.
To save Lapras from certain death, I decide to switch into Torterra, sacrificing our turtle in the process. However, this allows us to bring in Swellow, who I specifically included just to deal with Ludicolo. Our Focus Sash guarantees that we always survive a hit before Swellow lands a massive super effective Brave Bird, crushing the dreaded Dancing Pineapple in a single shot. And on top of that, Swellow survives the recoil damage on only 12 HP. The weakened Luminion re-emerges next, but thanks to extreme speed, Swellow quickly finishes it off. This causes Wake to send in Tentacruel next, and I'm expecting it to go for a water move, so switch into Lapras, who absorbs the incoming Scald, recovering its HP in the process. As a result, now Lapras has enough health to survive long enough to land 3 crucial drill runs, which ends up being enough to bury Tentacruel. But despite us being ahead, this is where things start to turn. Because when Gorobis hits the field, I try switching into Breloom, only to get instantly apprehended by a super effective Psychic.
Ooh, I think you should have actually seen that one coming. I've actually seen Gorobis use being basically a special attacker and having that move even before playing this game. So you kind of should have seen that coming. I mean, I think you probably didn't, but
And while our Lapras is able to land a Toxic, it too quickly falls at the hands of Shadow Ball. Our team was starting to fall apart, and we desperately needed a hero. Enter Rotom. Our floating washing machine is just tanky enough to survive a surf, allowing us to fire off a discharge, sending Gorobus to its grave. But we weren't safe yet, as Wake still has his ace, Floatzel. And with the rain boosting its power and speed, it instantly gets the revenge kill on our Rotom. Out of options, I finally send in our Lucario, who just survives a waterfall thanks to its focus sash that I brought earlier. This allows us to land a big Thunder Punch, and it just isn't enough. Floatzel hangs on before decimating our Lucario on the next turn.
I'm not sure why it has Aqua Jet, but regardless, yeah, Floatzel is actually a monster when you actually use it, or when somebody else uses it. It is stupidly fast, and it's very, very physically oriented. Really, really good there.
With Aqua Jet. Now we were down to a 1v1, with both remaining Pokemon on the brink of death. And while Wake may have the rain on his side and a priority move in Aqua Jet, we have Extreme Speed, a +3 priority move that outpaces Floatzel, delivering the final blow and giving us an insanely close clutch win. That gives us the 5th badge, and
this is only the 5th gym. It's this hard, and it's only the 5th gym. God, I love this mod. Oh, I actually got it right this time.
This game is stressing me out, possibly taking years off of my life. After leaving the gym, we learn that Team Galactic have set off a bomb inside the Great Marsh. So, after chasing down the grunt and beating him senselessly, we let him walk away, completely uncontested, for some reason. Anyway, at this point in the game, we've had a taste of how hard some of these fights are, as well as a few of the new added side quests and other content. Although, one thing I haven't mentioned is the updated models and resizing in this game. I mean, just look at the bounce physics on those udders. Technology has truly reached its peak. Putting that aside, while I did lose a few fights in this next section of the game, I want to focus on getting to the part of Luminescent Platinum where things start to get crazy. With that in mind, we gradually made our way to Canalave City, catching a few extra Pokemon along the way, while also fully evolving some more of our team.
Do you see what I see? If you don't know, I'll tell you. There's an Electivire up there, and you're not even at the 7th gym yet. In the original games, I'm not actually sure that you're actually able to get an Electivire or a Magmortar before the final stretch of the game, but this game gives you much more for much cheaper. And when I play it again, I might actually play it on stream. If I do end up playing this again, Electivire is going to be one of my mains, because I love this Pokemon so much. Anyway, continue.
Giving us access to some really strong guys. A nice quality of life change in this mod is that all trait evolutions have been removed, meaning that Pokemon like Scizor and Electivire are entirely obtainable on a single copy of the game. On top of that, some Pokemon have also had their typing adjusted. For example, Ampharos gains the Dragon type just like its Mega Evolution, and Flygon is now a Bug Dragon, meaning that it's not just the Teemu version of Garchomp anymore. Anyway, the Steel-type gym in Canalave City was pretty straightforward, with our Fire and Fighting types putting in work to give us a pretty clean win for Badge 6. And after eventually dealing with Mars and Saturn at the 2 Sinnoh Lakes, we began the long journey north towards Snow Point City. After dealing with the perils of an ice puzzle that exposed me and my tiny brain a little more than I'd like to admit, we can challenge the 7th gym. And ice is a pretty terrible type, so this was probably going to be fine. Right? Wrong, wrong, wrong. Candace is a nightmare. Just like the water-type gym, the ice gym also has permanent weather to boost up her ice types. On top of that, her Pokemon are just so strong and so cheesy. Candace would just freeze me so often. Combine this with her outrageous speed and power, and I was getting ripped to shreds. We were handed loss after loss, and I was ready to throw my controller into the stratosphere.
Wow, an ice-type gym leader that's actually a threat. Take notes, Bryce. Sorry, not Bryce. Price, take notes. Although there is there is a version of Crystal that is actually much harder than the original also. So yeah, remember what I said about mods making games much harder? It does. And that's a good thing. Anyway.
Eventually though, the game took pity on me and I was finally able to make some progress. This time, I lead with our newly evolved Tyranitar, who temporarily overrides the weather with sand. Tyranitar's job is mostly to set up Stealth Rock, as this will do big damage to any incoming ice types. Although, of course, I get frozen again, so our Godzilla quickly goes down without being able to accomplish much else. So, next I send in Scizor, who just manages to survive a hurricane from Delibird before setting up a Swords Dance to boost our attack. After that, on the next turn, a boosted priority Bullet Punch slaps that bird out of the sky. Although the Abomasnow that follows just manages to survive a hit before sending Scizor to the scrapyard. Despite that, Lucario's Flash Cannon quickly evens up the fight to a 4v4, and this is where we start to take the lead. Because I know from our previous attempts that the incoming Glaceon is about to Earth Power my Lucario into its grave. So instead, I switch into Rotom, who dodges the incoming Earth Power with its Levitate ability before an Overheat on the next turn absolutely cooks Candace's Glaceon. Delicious. The last three on Candace's team are deadly, but thankfully, we have a beast in Meta.
Okay, real quick. Why does Jinx not have an alternate form? I mean, I know it has a pre-evolution just like its two other counterparts, Magmar and Electabuzz, but why doesn't Jinx have an alternate form or an evolution? It should. Yeah, it should. It should have an evolution, but apparently it's been ignored.
With a combination of Iron Head and Bullet Punch, we're able to deal out some big damage before one last discharge from Rotom finishes off the Ace Frostlass. That win felt so satisfying after being slapped around by Candace, and all it took was assembling 6 of the strongest Pokemon ever created, which is a scary thought since this game is only going to get harder.
Yeah, you're not even at the 8th gym leader yet, nor the Elite Four, nor Cynthia. Which I am very worried for Keegan's mental state when it comes to the Elite Four.
The next little section of Luminescent Platinum is pretty close to the original. We storm the Galactic HQ in Veilstone City, ultimately freeing the Lake Trio Pokemon before making our way through Mount Coronet as we head towards the summit. But it's only once we reach Spear Pillar that things start to get completely unhinged, because it's here that we once again encounter Mars and Jupiter. We appear to be outnumbered, at least until Barry arrives. So we team up and begin an intense 2v2 double battle. Although, this is no normal fight, because this is a 12 on 12.
Say what?
Right. We have to fight our way through 12 Pokemon in just a single battle. This is really difficult, because we can't control the actions of Barry and his Pokemon. So, we kinda just have to pray that Barry actually wants to contribute here.
Oh, we have to depend on the doofus. We have to depend on somebody that isn't us. That's not good. But hey, you gotta get good.
And thankfully, he does. With 12 Pokemon each, this fight is way too chaotic to describe in any real detail, but we mostly trade Pokemon back and forth. However, I make sure to mostly focus on attacking Jupiter's Pokemon, because once we had cleared through her 6 Pokemon, that leaves only Mars in a 2v1. From here, Barry and I quickly slap the rest of Mars's team into the dirt, giving us the win in what was one of the coolest fights I've ever seen in a Pokemon game. But as cool as that fight was, that's only the entree, because next, we have to deal with Cyrus, a man who has completely lost his mind, and apparently his facial—
Wait, what the hell? I don't remember this the last time I actually played this game, but hey, it's funny.
Features too. Ah, that's better. Since this game reflects the story of Platinum instead of Diamond and Pearl, we get a cool new cutscene featuring Dialga and Palkia before the gates of hell open up, revealing this awesome shadowy Giratina.
Man, I just admire all the work that was put into actually making this mod much better than it was. Seriously, I am in awe, and it really does make me appreciate the Pokemon community's, efforts. because I know this must not have been easy at all to make, much less to calibrate or, anything like that. Because, hey, I know shit about video game design, so I can only marvel at the amount of work they put into it. Anyway, moving on.
After Cyrus is dragged into the portal, we chase him down before being confronted by this scene in the distortion world. It's here that we confront Cyrus for our final showdown, and this battle is insane. It starts out with a double battle in which Cyrus just whips out Dialga and Palkia, two legendaries who are both significantly stronger and a higher level than me.
So let me get this straight. This game actually is so hard, which is a good thing, by the way, that the boss of the organization actually just casually just throws out both of the titular legendaries at a much higher level than you might be right now. God, I love this mod.
Try to close combat Dialga with our Infernape, but can't finish it off before a Hydro Pump from Palkia absolutely decimates our starter in a single shot. On the next turn, Garchomp is able to get Palkia low with a Dragon Claw. However, then Rotom is also pumped into oblivion by Palkia, and a Roar of Time from Dialga just wipes Garchomp off the map. Damn. Also falls on the next turn, but by this point, both of Cyrus's legendaries are low, meaning that Metagross can finish Palkia with Zen Headbutt before Lucario also cleans up Dialga with a super effective Aura Sphere. So that fight was rough, but we somehow managed to scrape by. Except, no, we didn't. Cyrus wasn't done with us yet, because straight away, we have to take on his full-powered team of 6 without getting to heal between fights.
Yeah, you don't get to heal for that, so good luck.
Obviously, with only 2 Pokemon left, we don't stand a chance in this fight as Cyrus proceeds to utterly destroy the rest of our team, handing us the most dominant loss of the entire game so far. That was brutal. This is effectively an 8v6 against some of the strongest Pokemon in the entire game. I went on to try this fight again and again, but the result was always the exact same. Dialga and Palkia would just do so much damage to my team, meaning that I was always at such a disadvantage every time I tried to face Cyrus's main team of 6. So, as my losses piled up, I quickly realized that I needed a far better way of dealing with Dialga and Palkia. First, I tried using Gastrodon to nullify Palkia's Hydro Pump with our Water Absorb ability. This strategy was definitely an improvement, but still not enough. I also then tried other strategies using Clefable and Breloom, but these were also not good enough as our team just kept on getting slammed into the dirt. However, then I came up with a plan to wipe out these 2 legendaries without losing even a single Pokemon.
Do tell. Because by the look of this situation, it is a monster of a fight. God, I love this mod. And I know I keep saying this ad nauseum, but it's just there. I love this mod to pieces.
And it all centers around our Hitmonlee and Shiny Lopunny. With a priority fake out, Lopunny can force Palkia into flinching on this turn. This leaves Hitmonlee free to attack Dialga. With the boost of our Life Orb, Hitmonlee's super effective close combat is just enough to wipe out Dialga in a single shot. Now it's down to a 1v2, and since both of our Pokemon are so fast, we outspeed Palkia, and the combination of Return followed by another close combat is all we need to finish Palkia. Once again, we've cleared the initial double battle, but this time, all of our Pokemon are still healthy. This means that our fight against Cyrus is an even 6-on-6. While his lead Absol does instantly knock out Hitmonlee with a Play Rough, we can quickly even a score with Lopunny, who gets the revenge kill after a fake out, followed by a turn. Cyrus sends in his Honchkrow next, and expecting it to use a flying move, I switch out into Rotom, who tanks the incoming Drill Peck like a king, before Discharge shoots that bird out of the sky.
Nice.
Now we have pulled ahead, and this is where our momentum really starts to build. After Garchomp hits the field, Earthquakes are able to absolutely rip through Cyrus's Crawdaunt, as well as his Houndoom on the following turn. And after Infernape quickly cleans up Manectric, Cyrus was left with only his Weavile. However, it only takes a single quad-effective Muck Punch to secure the KO. And with that, we had finally beaten one of the craziest fights I have ever witnessed.
It was a long fought battle, but it was worth it. And if you go through something like that, if you go through something like that, a hard-fought battle like that, which is pretty much the Pokemon equivalent to a Dark Souls boss, you deserve a cupcake. Just put the game down and go get a cupcake because you deserve it. Cupcakes. Because they're good. And they are your reward. Anyway, continuing.
After Cyrus disappears, we have to square up with the giant, shadowy Giratina and... Oh my god, it's level 100?
You know what, forget what I just said. This is what you have to get the cupcake for. In fact, not even a cupcake. If you get through this, what I'm seeing on screen right here, just get yourself a whole cake. I think you deserve it.
Yeah, not only did we have to face 2 legendaries at the same time, but now we also have to take on a level 100 legendary. Unfortunately, we can't just catch it in our Master Ball, meaning we have to somehow beat it. And immediately, Giratina starts ripping through my team, quickly decimating our Hitmon lead. I know we can't beat this thing with raw power, so instead, opt to send in Rotom, who thankfully lands a Will-O-Wisp to burn the Hellish Dragon. This makes all the difference, as now, Giratina is on a timer. So, while our team continues to crumble, the burn damage slowly adds up. Eventually, we'd stalled its HP down into the red, clearing Lucario to come in and finish the fight with one last flash cannon. Giratina had been sent back to hell.
A level 100 legendary. And if you actually do get through that, like I said before, don't even get the cupcake. Just go get yourself a cake. You deserve it. Cake.
Before we were teleported to safety in the send-off spring. Team Galactic had now been dealt with, but that chapter of the game was wild. A 12-on-12 battle, a 6v8 fight, including a double battle against legendaries, as well as a showdown with a level 100 Giratina. This game is absolutely insane. But with all of that chaos behind us, I knew that from now on, we would definitely, absolutely never lose again. Thank heavens you're safe.
Oh, you poor soul.
Never has my heart pounded this hard in 60 years. Are you sure it's not a heart attack? Anyway, with Team Galactic taken care of, now we can turn our attention towards earning the final badge, as well as becoming the league champion. So, we began the long journey west into the now accessible Route 222. However, as we approach the end of the route, it's here that we're confronted by Elite 4 member Flint. Just like in the original game.
Yeah, remember when I said with Aaron, this was going to be the last time that this has happened where an Elite Four member just challenges you out of the blue? Well, this is what happens.
Flint asks us to light a fire under Volkner. Although, unlike the base games...
Oh yeah, and by the way, if you thought he was going to be a pushover like he was in the original games, oh, you poor sweet summer child. You are in for a treat. Because like a lot of people that played the original games, I was also disappointed that Flint had, what, 2 of his signature type Pokemon? Not even an entire team, just 2. But yeah, continuing. His actual team is much better now.
Then Flint forces us into a fight. This man seriously just pulled the exact same ambush move that Aaron did to us. And despite this man looking like a clown, whose head was possibly assaulted by a cotton candy machine, his team is no joke. At first, things don't seem too bad. His camera up does set up the sun and gets the KO onto our Larpeny, but Lucario quickly gets the trade, evening up the fight to a 5v5. However, then Flareon hits the field. And I don't know what it is, but this man's Flareon was cracked out of its mind. Somehow, it outspeeds Lucario, crushing it with a single Flare Blitz. Even Hitmonlee isn't fast enough and is slapped into the dirt. Infernape also suffers the exact same fate on the next turn, before Garchomp takes enormous damage by the time Flareon finally goes down. But by now, our team has just taken too much damage, as the rest of our Pokemon are picked apart. And yet again, we had been handed yet another brutal defeat.
Yeah, remember when I said it was going to get much harder? It is. And Flint is no longer a joke in this game. He's actually much better.
From what we've seen in this game, the Elite Four members are insanely tough, and I was terrified of what we could be facing once we make it to the Pokemon League. But that's a problem for later.
Yeah, I mean, especially since one of the Elite Four members is infamous for being stupidly hard. That being, well, actually, I actually think it's two of the gym leaders, not gym leaders, the Elite Four members that are notorious for being hard. That being the ground type Elite Four member and the psychic type Elite Four member, Lucian. But we'll get to that later, apparently.
For now, we've arrived in Sunny Shore City, location of the final gym. Volkness still specializes in electric types, however, an interesting change in Luminescent Platinum is that now, this gym fight is a double battle. While this does add an interesting spin on things, regardless, this fight was still relatively straightforward. With access to great ground types like Gastrodon, Torterra, and Rhydon, we're able to counter Volkner's team pretty hard, leading to us securing a comfortable win on our very first attempt. So, with our 8th badge now secured,
I'm not going to say that's disappointing.
Pokemon League. This involves heading north of Sunny Shore, surfing across the ocean of Route 223 before ascending the wall.
Okay, quick thing. I really love this track that's playing right now, and it was actually a track in the original games. Yeah, it's basically you getting through Victory Road, and it is such a triumphant tune. I really like it. Anyway, continuing.
Waterfall and entering the horrors of Victory Road. Seriously, this section of the game is a gauntlet. There are so many trainers here, with large teams of fully trained Pokemon.
Yeah, that's a good thing that it's a gauntlet. It makes it much harder, and especially for something like Victory Road, it seems very appropriate.
Making even random trainer battles feel like a gym fight. So, as we work through Victory Road, I want to briefly address the question we started with. Is this a better remake than Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl?
Yes. Like demonstrably, yes. I mean, you kind of proved that at the beginning of the game. You kind of answered that question at the beginning of the game, and it's just gotten more obvious since.
Yeah. For the most part, the extra Pokemon available plus the extra side quests add a unique touch of freshness that wasn't really present in the remakes. The quality of life improvements in Luminescent Platinum also just make the whole experience so much more enjoyable. Although, beware that this version of the game is so much harder than the official releases. So, if you're looking for more of a challenge, then Luminescent Platinum will give you a far better experience than Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. On the other hand, if you'd rather a more relaxed, nostalgic Sinnoh experience, then I'd probably just stick with the original Pokemon Platinum. So, that leaves
Agreed.
There's only one more question that we need to answer. Can I somehow beat this game's final boss after being basically slapped around and spat on by this game at every single step of the way? But before we can take on the Pokemon League, there are a few extra hurdles that Luminescent Platinum has to throw at us. As, before we can exit Victory Road, we're forced into exploring this portion of the map on Route 224. This involves teaming up with Marley to make our way through part of the cavern, before gradually clearing our way through Route 224 on the other side. And once we reach the end of the route, it's here that we find Dawn. Immediately, she challenges us to a fight with her full-powered team that has some enormous threats.
Nice. Any team that has an Alakazam on it is cool by me. Alakazam is easily one of my favorite Pokemon. Seriously, I've wanted on an Alakazam for so long, and it was only nowadays that I've actually been able to get my hands on one. Thanks, Link Trades. I don't miss you. Seriously, I don't miss Link Trades at all. Ever. God, I hate Link Trades. Anyway, let's continue.
With Pokemon like Alakazam, Clefable, and Torterra, this fight is pretty brutal, but our team is just able to scrape by, largely thanks to Garchomp and Togekiss. While this battle isn't the hardest fight of the game, I really like how both rivals get a proper final showdown in this version of the game. Dawn's great. She deserves this. With Dawn taken care of, now we're clear to backtrack into Victory Road, where we can finally proceed through to the exit of what felt like an everlasting gauntlet. Once outside, we receive one last visit from the adorable flowery hedgehog, who hands us the Gracidia flower before scurrying off back into the cave. And after beating up our rival Barry for one last time, we had finally arrived at the Pokemon League.
Yeah, from the gauntlet that is Victory Road to both of your rival fights, it really does seem like you earned it, you know? It really does seem like you earned the right to actually be at the Elite Four, which is what a Pokemon game is supposed to do. Anyway, I'm rambling. Let's continue.
The toughest hurdle of this entire game. We've already faced a lot
As
of
it should.
fights, but this is on a whole other level. 5 battles back to back, each one carrying a full deadly team of 6, including several possible team variations. And we have to navigate all of this using just one team of 6. This is no joke. To prepare, I had to assemble the best team possible. This involves making use of TMs, nature mints, ability capsules, and EV items to ensure that we have the best chance of success against a seemingly impossible hurdle.
I love what he just said there. It basically makes you think, and it throws you into the ultimate gauntlet of this game. God, I love this game. Well, okay, I love the mod that this game made this game too. God, I'm rambling. Continue.
However, after some preparation, I had assembled our champion hunting squad, consisting of our starter Infernape, Torterra, Rotom, Togekiss, Scizor, and Garchomp. These were our Pokemon that we would have to rely on to somehow conquer the Sinnoh Pokemon League, and I knew for a fact that we would surely never lose again. Let's do this. I'm Aaron of the Elite Four. It's good to meet you. What? You don't even remember me? We battled like 8 times, you disgusting ambushing bug freak. Aaron leads with his Drapion as I go with Torterra. Aaron immediately gets his Drapion out of there using Parting Shot to pivot into Yanmega. However, this is totally fine, as my main goal with Torterra is just to set up Stealth Rock, which will dish out big damage to each bug type that hits the field. Knowing that Yanmega will either want to go for a bug or flying move, I can safely bring in Rotom Heat to tank the incoming attack. Then, after eating another hit, it only takes 1 Volt Switch from our Electric Oven to pick up the opening KO. And with Stealth Rocks now up, our team has a huge advantage. With a few Air Slashes, Togekiss can quickly...
Yeah, bugs and Stealth Rock don't mix. If you're ever up against a tough bug Pokemon trainer, just remember that. Anyway, continuing on.
Rip through both Ledian, as well as the Scyther that follows. While Aaron's Vespiquen does finish off our Togekiss, Rotom quickly executes our revenge as an Overheat cooks up the Queen Bee. And from here, Torterra is able to wrap up the fight as a Seed Bomb crushes the trash bag Wormadam, and an Earthquake buries the Ace Drapion soon after. That gives us our first win of the Elite Four, as well as some very satisfying revenge over Aaron. It's worth pointing out that while we can't change our team, we can change around our movesets, as well as the form of Rotom between these fights. So, after making some of those changes, next, we stepped up to Bertha and her ground types. Although, I have a straight up evil plan for this fight. This time, Garchomp's the one who sets up Stealth Rock, which is very important as it'll basically nullify the sturdy ability on any of Bertha's.
Yeah, Bertha is the one. Yeah, Bertha, even back in the old games, was one of the more infamous ones because ground-type Pokemon are actually a lot more underrated than they should be. Anyway, continuing on.
Punch. However, Infernape quickly fires back as a quite effective Grass Knot instantly deals with Rhyperior. This brings in Bertha's Torterra, and it's here that our plan comes into motion. Because by bringing in Togekiss, we tank a big Stone Edge before activating our trap card, Encore. This forces Bertha to keep using Stone Edge for the next few turns, meaning we can now bring in our own Torterra, who takes very little damage from Stone Edge. This buys us some time to now use Shell Smash, a move that lowers our defenses while also sharply raising both our offense and speed. 2 of these bring our Torterra to +4 by the time Encore wears off. But by now, it's too late for Bertha, as now we have an ultra-powered turtle ready to inflict pain. With a barrage of seed bombs and earthquakes, Yoshi the Torterra just goes on a tear.
I didn't know Torterra could actually use Shell Smash. Maybe it's a new move that I didn't know about it could actually use, or it's just for this mod. I'm not sure. I'll look that up later. Anyway, continuing on.
Ripping each of Bertha's ground types to pieces, putting this old lady straight into a retirement home. With the ground types buried, next up on the agenda is Flint, a man who utterly decimated me like 5 minutes ago in Sunny Shore City. However, now I'm much better prepared and have learned from my previous mistakes. This time, we have a much better plan. Leading with Infernape, we instantly set up Stealth Rocks, and this makes things very straightforward, as once Garchomp hits the field, thanks to a speed boost from its Choice Scarf, super effective Earthquakes dish out enormous damage, wiping through the majority of Flint's team single-handedly, as the Fire-type Master just has no answer for our Shark. Take that, Flint. Serves you right for trying to ambush me, you coward. Our team was holding up well, as we'd now dispatched the first 3 members of the Pokemon League without too much trouble.
Yeah, but the more infamous one, I mean, other than the champion herself, is coming up. And from what I remember, the next one, Lucian, is just all sort of messed up. He's one of the toughest trainers, and this is a much more tough mod.
And to be honest, Lucian is a similar story. This fight starts out mixy, as Xatu sets up both the light screen and reflect. Lucian and I both then pivot around a bit with U-turn, but ultimately, Lucian picks up the first KO on Togekiss thanks to a Stone Edge from Solrock. Next, I bring in Infernape to set up Stealth Rock, as Lucian switches into his Metagross. It tanks a super effective Earthquake like it's nothing, before a Zen Headbutt crushes our Infernape in a single shot.
Oof.
So, we had fallen behind, but this is where we take over, because next, I send in Scizor, and our Bug Steel type has a great matchup against Psychic types.
How's that?
A Swords Dance massively boosts our attack before Meteor Mash hits for big damage. However, we can mitigate the damage thanks to Scizor's leftovers, combined with the move Protect, to buy time for even more recovery. This allows us to land the 2 X-Scissors that we need to finally take down the dreaded Metagross. The weakened Solrock returns next, but a quick boosted Bullet Punch sends it right back to the bench. And thanks to our leftovers recovery, Scizor can just survive a Psycho boost from the incoming Girafarig before X-Scissor takes it down too. From here, our momentum doesn't slow down, as X-Scissor wipes Slowking off the map, Xatu is finished off by Bullet Punch, and the
Hey, Reckless Ricky, how have you
the
been?
moment it hits the field. That gives us the win over Lucian, knowing
Oh.
that only one more battle remains.
Yeah.
Trainer standing
Yeah, Reckless Ricky, let's just say life has been kicking my ass.
So we
Yeah, let's just say life has been kicking my ass. I'm not really going to be streaming much longer tonight, but I'm going to be streaming, I'm going to say today, tomorrow, and Thursday. I'm thinking that's going to be my streaming schedule from now on, but honestly, I'm not sure. But yeah, Reckless Ricky, we're reacting to a Keengan J video about a bad Pokemon game becoming good because of mods. Because like I said before, and I will say it again, Pokemon games are better with mods. Oh, and congrats, Reckless Ricky. Congrats. Yeah, I'm not sure how to fix that. I'm not really sure how to fix that. But anyway, continuing.
stepped forward to take on Cynthia, confronting the champion inside her freshly redesigned Platinum Room. We may have been decimated throughout this game, but I was determined to prove ourselves against this one last hurdle. Cynthia leads with her Lucario, which is perfect as I open with Garchomp. Thanks to our Choice Scarf, we move first as an Earthquake instantly picks up our first KO, giving us the early lead. This brings out Cynthia's Glaceon, and we know that an Ice-type move is coming, so I use this window to switch into Scizor, who eats the incoming Ice Beam pretty well. However, this is where Cynthia makes a crucial error, because the champ starts using Detect on every second turn, and we can take advantage of this by using Swords Dance for free, boosting our attack on the turns that Glaceon tries to detect. Then, on the other turns, we just protect with Scizor to avoid taking any damage. All of this means that Scizor comfortably boosts its attack to +4. And now, we had an absolute demigod of a steel type on our side, because it only takes a single bullet punch to slap Glaceon into the trash. The champ then follows up with Togekiss, who also gets bullet punched into oblivion, as does Larpeny on the turn after that. Cynthia's Sea Slug does manage to survive an X-Scissor, but after Scizor tanks an Earth Power, one more X-Scissor finishes off Gastrodon too. All of a sudden, the champion was left with only her ace, Garchomp. A bullet punch falls just short.
Oh god, Garchomp. It's time for the legend to practically destroy you. Because Garchomp is legendary. Well, it's technically a pseudo-legendary, but still. It is amazing. Hold on, let me check something real quick. Okay. Rickless Ricky, if you're still watching, am I still double voiced? Because it just changed something. Am I still double voiced? I can't really tell. Well, regardless, let's continue.
Of taking it down, meaning that our beast of a Scizor finally goes down at the hands of an earthquake. So we respond by sending in our own Garchomp, creating an epic face-off between sharks as Cynthia stared down the champion, Cynthia. However, our Garchomp reigns supreme. With the Choice Scarf boosting our speed, one last Outrage is all we need to crush Cynthia's ace, giving us a dominant win over the Sinnoh champion. With that, despite all our struggles and losses during this run, we had finally beaten all of Pokemon Luminescent Platinum. Jump into this video next for more Pokemon content, and let me know what you think of this Sinnoh remake in the comments below. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.
So yeah, that was Keengan J's video on the worst Pokemon game, or I guess the most underwhelming Pokemon game being made better by mods. So yeah, conclusion of that, what I said before is still there. Pokemon games are made better by ROMs, and this video just proves it. So yeah. Okay, let's see. All right, but that's pretty much it. Thank you very much for joining me tonight, and I will see you tomorrow sometime in the evening for another stream. I think we're going to be reacting to more, but who knows? Anyway, check you later.